In today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to memorize piano music with 3 easy methods. These 3 easy methods are a really great way to ensure that your music gets into the deeper layers of your memory, even if your ultimate goal isn't to play pieces from memory. Memory is essential to the piano learning process because if you want to be able to retain what you do from practice session to practice session, you have to be able to remember what you did the day before. We're gonna focus on the 3 methods today, and I'm not gonna go super deep into the different kinds of memory and how you can work on each of them. I have another tutorial for that, and I will link that at the end screen of this video. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, hi, I'm Ashley from Ashley Young Music Studio, and you are about to learn some practice methods that will help you practice smarter, not harder. Let's dive in. The first method that you can use to memorize piano music is memorizing hands alone. Now this method is going to work regardless of your skill level and regardless of what piece you're working on. But for this example, we're going to look at the first loss, Opus 68, number 16 by Robert Schumann. It sounds like this. You can see there's a lot of interplay between the hands. I have the right hand melody and then the left hand chimes in. Right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. And in any piece of music, when you are learning and you're playing things over and over hands together, the memory starts to get dependent on the coordination between the hands. And your left hand knows what to do in relation to the right hand and vice versa. And so when we practice memorizing hands alone, we take away that crutch for the brain and we force the brain to learn each hand individually so that when you put it back hands together, it's even stronger. Now we're gonna start with the left hand. So looking at just the left hand of this piece, I have G, E is what I meant, and then A, E, and then G, E. Now, simple enough, right? But we're actually gonna make sure that when you memorize one hand alone, and we're starting with the left hand, that we're doing the counting so that we memorize it in the context of the piece. So that when we go to put it back with the right hand, it fits in where it's supposed to fit. So 1 and 2 and 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 1 and 2. Now, you'll likely find when you go to memorize one hand that you're gonna have to really focus on what these notes are, what the counting is, and where you're going with each hand. So you'll do it over and over again. You're not just gonna play mindlessly, you're going to actually think, okay, G, E, A, E, G, E. Okay, and then things change. F sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and then things change again. E, A sharp, B, B, B. And this is how I would do it. I would actually kind of narrate and see if there were any ways that I could help myself remember this left hand. And remember, I'm going to keep counting out loud. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Now, after so many times of playing it over and over and different ways of getting your brain to remember it, you're then going to do the same thing with the right hand. And once you have both of them very, very comfortable, you'll put it together. This will take some time. It's not something that's going to happen instantly, and I recommend that you do small sections, so maybe a few measures of the left hand and then a few measures of the right hand and then put them together, and then your next practice session, you can go on and do a few more measures. It's okay if this takes time. It's supposed to. You're essentially creating a puzzle for your brain to solve, and every time your brain solves the puzzle, your memory gets stronger and stronger. If you're liking this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Comment below and let me know what you like about it. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of the helpful content that I release on a daily basis. And grab this link and share it with another adult piano player so that they can also master memorization on the piano. The second method that you can use to memorize piano music is saying things out loud. And I totally almost gave this one away in the last one I was describing. Now, saying things out loud works for any kind of memorization. It actually would have worked really well in the last method I was describing when I was doing hands alone memorization. You heard me kind of saying the notes out loud, and it works really well for that. But it also works really well when you are memorizing jumps or chords. And so to show you this, I'm going to be using the Nocturne in E flat major, Opus 9, number 2 by Chopin. The one that sounds like this. Now, the left hand is famously jumpy and difficult because you have to go to all of these different chords. And I don't know how I'm gonna remember them. Just kidding, I do know. I'm going to say them out loud and I'm gonna make myself remember them that way. Saying it out loud really makes the connection between the brain and the hand. So let's zoom in and just look at like the first 3 notes in the left hand. Okay, so I'm starting on an E flat, and then I jump to an E flat and a G, and a B flat, E flat, G. Now, this is actually a broken E flat major chord. And so I know my chords, so I'm gonna remember it that way. And if you don't know your chords, that's okay. I can still think, okay, E flat to G and E flat to B flat, E flat, G. And I can really focus on saying these out loud and feeling the shape of these chords. So when I'm jumping up from the E flat, I'm kind of making this shape in the combination of these two. And I'm really coming up with anything that will help me remember, but also saying things out loud. So E flat, G, E flat, B flat, E flat, G. Or you could say E flat, and then like a first inversion, E flat, second inversion, E flat. E flat, first inversion, second inversion. E flat, first inversion, second inversion. Or E flat, G and E flat, B flat, E flat, G. E flat, G, B flat, E flat, G. Just like the last method, we're gonna go really slow and you're gonna focus in on a very small section of music. And you can add note by note, or you can do it with like an entire beat or an entire measure and then just continue adding to it. This is going to work for any piece, anytime there are jumps, anytime you are doing things like broken chords or blocked chords. It really works for anything because saying things out loud forces the connection between your brain and your hands, and it strengthens it over time. It also helps you become really clear on what notes you're actually playing, because when you develop muscle memory, which is like where you can kind of feel where you're going, you're not really aware of what you're actually playing. You're kind of memorizing how it feels as opposed to really knowing in your brain where you're going and what notes you're playing. So this gets it way deeper into other layers of memory. If you're liking this video, chances are you would get a lot out of my free Facebook community. There are thousands of amazing piano players in this group that come together, connect, and support each other. You can go ahead and join using the link in the description below after you finish this video. The third method that you can use to memorize piano music is actually something that I teach inside the Casual to Confident Piano Player program, and it's called memory starts. Memory starts are wonderful because not only do they strengthen your memory when you use them, they also give you a backup plan for performance. And I love, love, love memory starts. They're something that I've been doing since my college days. Let's look at the first loss by Schumann again. I'm gonna put the music here up on the screen, and you can see that what I've done is you go through the music and find the phrases, okay? And the phrases are going to be anywhere from 4 to 8 measures long, and you want to actually number the phrases. So you can see here on the music that my first phrase is labeled with a number 1 with a circle around it. My second phrase is labeled with a number 2 with a circle around it, and so on and so forth. And you do this for the entire piece. Now, this process in and of itself is going to help you learn the piece better. It's going to help you become much more familiar with the structural integrity of the piece, which is going to help you organize it better in your brain and remember it better. But beyond that, you can use the memory starts in your practice to drill your memory. So you essentially practice starting each memory start. So I start at number 1, and then maybe after a measure I stop and I go to number 2. And then maybe after a measure I stop and I go to number 3. It looks like this. This is memory start 1. This is memory start number 2. This is memory start number 3. And in doing this, it's going to become very apparent which memory starts are the same, which ones are different, how are they the same, how are they different. And it's also going to give you a backup plan so that when you are performing and you inevitably have something unexpected that happens, you don't go back to the beginning. Right? Because that's always like the dreaded fear, is that when you forget or you can't find your way back to the music, you go all the way back to the beginning. And we really want to avoid that because it never solves the issue. And in fact, you end up making the same mistakes over and over again. So the memory starts help you have these little anchor points in the piece that you can jump to should things go awry when you are playing through a piece. Also, as I mentioned, just the nature of finding the memory starts and drilling them in that way is going to strengthen your memory in very, very deep ways. Now, as promised, I have another tutorial that is incredibly informative. It's all about the 4 different types of memory and how you can utilize them to memorize anything that you want to play on the piano forever. I'm going to link that on the end screen, but before I do, I also want to make sure that you have gotten your free replay of the sight reading class that I taught a few months ago. It's called Speed Reader, and in that class, I teach you the 3 simple steps that you can take to increase your sight reading accuracy and move beyond the notes. You can grab that free replay right here on the end screen along with that memory tutorial. Happy practicing.